What's up? Hey, hello everyone. Wow, so today we are back going to be talking about Survivor season 49, episode 8. We are sort of almost to the finish line here. I feel like this episode was so fun and so good. It literally felt like scripted television. So, my name is Rachel.
I'm Alyssa, and it's so weird that you're saying we're almost to the finish line because, we literally just merged. We're not almost to
Yeah,
the finish line. I
three,
don't know what
four
you're
weeks.
talking about, Rachel.
I feel like 3 to 4 weeks, especially with all the holidays, it goes by really fast.
That is true. I feel like the fall season always goes by super fast because fall is just busy.
Yeah, so I really liked this episode. I thought it was a ton of fun. It literally felt scripted because it was like, okay, we had the top dogs become the underdogs, then everything that could go like right for them went right, and then they became the top dogs potentially again by the end of the episode. I was like, this is great TV. This is so fun.
Yeah, it does make me wonder about those people who think that Survivor is scripted, though. I'm like, what do they think about TV episodes like this where everything feels this perfect? Like, do they use this as evidence for the fact that Survivor is in fact scripted?
Yeah, I was like, Savannah and Rizzo, they have got a lot of luck this episode. All the things are going right. I was like, this is a really great episode for them because at the start, it really looked like they had a big uphill battle to come to.
Yeah, it definitely did feel like that. Like Savannah at the start is crying about how she feels left out of everything, and then by the end, she's not crying anymore.
Yeah, from the top to the bottom, back to the top, it was a crazy 90-minute episode.
Yes.
So, I feel like we start this episode with some of the ramifications from last week, where we saw MC played her idol when she didn't necessarily really need to. Last week, we talked about this. It's like, okay, maybe they could have done something more spicy with the idol, played the idol for Steven, or saved the idol because technically you had the votes going on Nate to be sent home. MC's probably wishing she had the idol this week, like for
Yeah.
sure.
I feel like that's how it always goes, though. As soon as you use it, you're like, oh, darn, maybe I should have kept it. But also, it's better than never using it. And I feel like there are some people, I'm not going to name names, but they might be RIZGOD, um, are just holding on to their idol and just keeping it in a death grip.
Yeah, it's always like hindsight is 2020 because if MC did get votes last week and didn't play the idol, you'd be like, dang, you should have played it. It's better to play it and be safe last 2 or 3 more days than to like go home with the idol in your pocket. On the flip side, if maybe you're a little bit sketched and nervous about it, it makes sense just to play it. It gets that target off of your back, so then people aren't trying to like vote for you. But also, like we've seen with Rizzo, it seems like people are nervous about the idol and they aren't necessarily wanting to put votes on the person with the idol because they're afraid that if he does play the idol legitimately, then they're going to get the blowback and like 1 or 2 people could send someone home.
Yeah, and I feel like it definitely has been interesting because we kind of saw this last season too, where there was a very public idol that then no one tried to flush because people were worried about, the ramifications of what if I vote for this person who then gets idled out. So, or what if I vote for this person who then plays their idol?
Exactly. And maybe it's just like, okay, in the new era at 12, 11, or 10, there's usually a split vote tribal council. And because we didn't have a split vote tribal council yet, maybe you're thinking, okay, if history is repeating itself, we're probably going to have a split vote tribal at final 10 where it's going to be 5v5. And if Rizzo, like we saw this week, has an idol, only 4 people are up for grabs. Plus, if someone did get immunity on that team, then only 3 people are up for grabs. Maybe you do have to play it a little bit risky at 11 if you're thinking that a split vote tribal is coming at 10, that you try to bank the idol for next time.
Yeah, that is true. Though, if it were me, I would just assume that they decided to get rid of a split vote tribal because I think it's stupid. But I've said my feelings about that quite a few times.
So MC playing her idol, it shows to Sage and Jawan from their point of view that MC didn't really fully trust them last week, which is valid, I feel like, from everyone's perspectives. Like from Sage and Jawan, they're like, okay, MC, we told you you weren't the vote. We told you we were with you. We told you we were voting like with you for Nate. Why didn't you believe or trust us? Then from MC's point of view, it's like, okay, I've never actually voted with you two before. Only Steven has voted with you and is vouching for you. Like, how do I know you're not playing Steven, who is then telling me stuff?
Yeah, and I feel like it's one of those things where it's hard when they both have valid points because it's like no one was really wrong to feel the way that they felt, but it did end up, I think, causing a lot of strife.
Yeah, it seems like from Sage and Jawan's point of view, like being left out from the MC information maybe caused some problems for them later in the episode, which leads to MC getting voted out tonight.
Yeah, which made me really sad. But yeah, it is one of those things where, one wrong step can really have a negative effect on your game because it can be kind of a snowball rolling down a hill.
Exactly. So the people on the bottom, I felt like after last vote, so like Sophie, Savannah, Rizzo, they did a really good job of kissing and sucking up to the people on the top and doing that damage control at the start of the episode. We see like Rizzo and Savannah sucking up to Juwan, Sage, Steven, all the people that voted Nate out here. And I thought they did really well because they weren't like mad or bitter about it. They were like, oh my gosh, great job, like XYZ. I thought that was really good because if you went back and sulked after the vote, people be like, yeah, you are most definitely next. But now at least it's like you're faking nice.
Yeah, and I think like you said, faking nice. I think the other good thing is no one like knew that they were faking nice. I think sometimes it can be very obvious when someone is just faking nice, I guess you could say. And so then if other people are picking up on that and are like, oh, yeah, I can tell that so and so is still mad at us, then that's maybe not the greatest because you want to be able to be like, no, I am really willing to move forward with people. And yeah.
I agree. And it seems like Sage and Jawan put themselves in a really good spot, at least through this episode, because it seems like now they are needed by Savannah and Rizzo's group in the red versus yellow war. Like right now, it doesn't really seem that Savannah and Rizzo can jump to like Steven and MC's side because those are the people wanting to vote them out. So they need Juwan and Sage to flip back to original red and vote with them if they wanted to get numbers again because Savannah and Rizzo can't just jump to yellow.
Yeah. And I think that is also good when you can convince someone who's left you to come back to you. Where it's one thing to sway members of the other alliance who like have never even known you or talked to you, but swaying someone who you've already kind of betrayed, so to speak, is a much harder, I would say, ask. And so doing that, I feel like shows a lot more ability as a player, social ability.
Yeah, so I thought Savannah and Rizzo did a really good job, just like acting humble, going to Sage and Jawan with their tail in between their legs and just like sucking up and apologizing to them. I was like, this is a really good job because a lot of people wouldn't be able to do that and they would just be angry at the people that flipped on them.
Or they would be too proud and would be like, screw them. I don't want to talk to them anymore. So I guess that's kind of the same thing as angry, but I feel like angry and proud both.
Definitely. So we also see Blue Sophie ready to jump ship as well. I thought that was really good. It's like, okay, good for you. You see that Savannah and Rizzo are going down. They are on the outcasts of this group now. I thought it was very good that she's flexible and she's seeing that they're on the bottom. They like she needs to get away from them a little bit, saying like I'm really not that close with them. I'm not so tied to them. Like pick me up as a number. I thought that was a really good from her.
Yeah, I thought that was really good too. I think especially the like I'm not that close, like I'm not tethered, because I feel like sometimes in Survivor people get the impression of like, oh, these two are really close, whether or not that's actually true. And I think obviously we as the viewer only get shown the relationships that end up being significant, but people on the island are not shown the same thing. So really being able to be like, no, like I am a free agent, I feel like is very useful.
Definitely. And especially because like we just saw Nate be voted out because he was close with Rizzo and Savannah, and people picked him to get votes because they're like, Rizzo's not going to play the idol on Nate. They might think similarly. And it's like, okay, let's vote Blue Sophie because Rizzo won't play the idol on her. Let's vote her out if we're trying to like take a shot at Rizzo and Savannah. So at the start of the episode, I was like, this is really, really good from Blue Sophie, just like telling everyone she's not that close to them. She's ready to jump ship, bring me in. I feel like next week, though, now that Savannah and Rizzo have some more power, I think that Sophie's probably going back to them.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Sophie, I feel like, goes with whoever the stronger person is. And, you know, the fact that she was on the blue tribe that is basically decimated, like it's basically just her and Alex. We talked kind of about whether or not she was going to stick with one group or float back and forth, but it seems like maybe the answer is float back and forth.
Yeah, opportunistic queen. She was ready to drop them when they were the outcasts, but I feel like once we see Savannah and Rizzo get power again, I think Sophie would go back to them.
I think so as well.
So we also see Alex, Christina, and Steven out idol hunting. Apparently, this happened like after the challenge, and that's why this group of three was looking together because they were the losing team later on in the episode. I was like, oh, this is a really interesting group of three to be like hanging out and looking for idols. But now that we know that this actually happened later on, like timeline wise, now the group of three makes more sense.
I part of me is like I wish that they would have shown us that in this order because like you said it does make a lot more sense and like I didn't know that. And so it's like I understand that they're trying to create a coherent story, but I don't see how the story is any less coherent if you do say like, hey, this is when this actually happened.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, maybe Christina could like pass MC the idol or something like that later on, but I guess technically she hadn't found it yet. I would thought Christina was like the least likely person I would expect to find an idol. So I was like, that is really, really good for her. It's a real idol. She didn't have to do anything. It's not a Beware advantage. It's a real full-fledged idol. So I was like, good for Christina.
Yeah, I thought good for Christina too. I like you said, she even said when she found it, like it's not a Beware advantage. So I wonder how much these people like are really thinking about like, oh no, I really hope that I don't find something that's gonna be hard.
So at least now Christina will have something for her resume since now she has a hidden immunity idol because it low key feels like she's getting a little bit of a goat edit right now. I think how Christina uses the idol can be very interesting coming up also because it seems like Christina and Steven could be on the bottom next week again. So like does Christina play it for herself? Does she try to make a move with the others and play it for someone else? Now that we know Christina has an idol, I feel like Alex, to save his own butt, will tell other people about the idol, and he even alluded to it in confessional. And then I think Blue Sophie will steal Christina's idol.
Yeah, which it is frustrating since they were all hunting as people on the bottom. Like as soon as one person is no longer on the bottom, their I guess you could say marriage of convenience is over. And so it is kind of sad
Mhm.
that it's like, whoops, I was hunting with this person as an ally and now they're not my ally anymore.
Yeah, because it seemed like maybe Blue Sophie, it would be fun if she stole Rizzo's idol, like if they actually got severed in their alliance relationship. But I think that might, cause fractures, especially if Rizzo and Savannah gain some more power coming into next week. So I feel like the best move for Blue Sophie would be to steal someone's idol that you're not connected to.
Yeah, and as the game goes on, there's going to be fewer and fewer people that you're not connected to. So better to steal now than to wait.
Yeah, then there's no more advantages to take.
That's true.
So, Christina has the idol. I think that will be interesting going into the upcoming weeks. We see Sage and Savannah's relationship. It's a little bit like weird, awkward now. Sage is saying Savannah is a mean girl, but I feel like from the edit, you don't really necessarily see mean girl. We see Savannah as being very intense, but not necessarily like rude to people.
Yeah, if anything, I feel like Sage is more of the mean girl with how she was talking about Shannon the whole time. But that could just be me.
That's why I felt like now their tension is like sort of awkward, weird, because it seems like Sage and Savannah have like similar backgrounds in terms of like being left out of friend groups and things like that, that they should be able to relate over something like that rather than like now Sage being mean to Savannah.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know what's up with that. I don't know like why on the island they weren't connecting, but sometimes even if it seems like two people should be able to get along, they don't, and that's just life sometimes.
True. So we see Savannah telling Steven about her traumatic work situation for 2 years. She was talking about how the stress from that situation really messed up her body, and now that she can't have kids naturally anymore. I was like, this is a really, really like sad story. I felt really bad listening to this.
Yeah, I felt really bad for her too, especially because like it was just a job. And the fact that like it was just a job that like permanently changed her body like that is kind of scary and kind of sad.
Yeah, especially because it's like, okay, it's like you're contracted to be there. You can't just leave. Other people, like, if you're going through that, you maybe just quit, or you're like, okay, I need the money. I need to stay here. So, yeah, it's just like really scary and sad that that has happened.
Yeah. And I guess people have tried to like find out on the internet who where this job was. I'm like, guys, don't do that. Don't be creepy. If she wanted us to know, she would have said it. Like, come on, be so for real.
It's sort of weird. I was like, listening to the story, I wouldn't be like, let me go try to Google her like LinkedIn to figure out where she's worked and then figure out who like the mean people are at her work. I would never like think to do such a thing.
Yes, neither would I, but I guess we're too normal for some of the Survivor fandom.
So I thought Steven or Savannah telling Steven her background story of this, I thought he was a very good person to tell the story to. I was wondering if this was intentional or not, because from us as a viewer's perspective, we know that Steven holds a lot of power. He's like him and MC are like the top two people on Old Yellow. So her telling Steven this, like, was it strategic or did it just happen to be that way?
I mean, it could also just be both, where, like, yes, it was the strategic choice to be able to tell Steven, and also, like, he was the one that you felt most comfortable telling about it. So I feel like it could be both, and I kind of assumed that it was both.
That's double good strategy then.
Yeah, make sure that the person you want to tell things to is someone who's in a position of power.
Exactly. So we get to the immunity challenge, and we are splitting into two teams of five, but only one team goes to tribal council. So a little bit different from previous split tribal councils, where usually like both teams go to tribal and like one person is immune on each team. But here, the winning group is totally immune, no tribal. You get food. The losing team of five is going to tribal council, and there is no individual immunity winner on the losing team, which I thought was good because if you had 1 in 5 safe, that's a little bit too many people like safe on there already.
Yeah, I think the the winning team not going to tribal at all did kind of feel bad, but I think that was more just vibes. Like I do agree that it's good, but it also felt weird, I think, because it's broken the pattern that has been around
Yeah,
for so long.
maybe because of the snake evac, another ramification.
Jake shouldn't have gotten bitten by a snake because it personally ruined my plans.
So the person who also lasts the longest, they get an advantage. So Jeff says that this could be $1 million pivot here in the game. And I was like, that is 100% true, Jeff, because literally this was $1 million pivot for Savannah and Rizzo. Now they went from the bottom to the less bottom and even the top. We might have to see next week if they make it back to the top.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the reasons that I personally am frustrated with the split tribal thing because I feel like it would have been so much more interesting to just have a normal tribal and see if they can navigate out of this situation like by themselves.
That's true. Even in a normal tribal council, so say all 10 went to tribal, Savannah probably wins herself individual immunity here anyways, and Rizzo also has the idol still. So it'd be very similar to maybe what we saw in the smaller group, but MC probably doesn't get voted out in the team of 10. But yeah, I feel like even a team of 10 would be very, very interesting because of the idol, and Savannah probably wins individual immunity still.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
So the first team is Savannah, Blue Sophie, Alex, Christina, and Steven. The second team is Rizzo, MC, Yellow Sophie, Sage, and Jawan. Basically, when we saw it's like an endurance challenge with a small foothold, I was like, okay, Savannah has got this in the bag. I feel like, especially also when you're the person that literally knows that you're on the bottom and you're probably getting voted out tonight if you don't win yourself individual immunity or find an advantage, it's like that person always can kick it into a different gear because they know it's life or death.
I think it's also like there are some kinds of challenges that are easier for certain kinds of people to do. I feel like a lot of these endurance type challenges are easier for women in some ways. So I feel like Savannah also had an advantage in that way. It's about that whole surface area to weight ratio.
I also wrote that in my notes. I was like, this feels like a challenge that favors people who weigh less and then maybe have smaller feet because it seems like all of the footholds are the same. Sometimes they might like change like the foothold or the weight of the bag that you're holding based on, like your feet size or the starting weight you start the game at. But yeah, the final four people in this challenge were all women, and then all the men like dropped before the final four of the challenge.
Yeah, I think it would be hard to do the foothold thing because they don't know who's going to be on which team.
That's true. You gotta have a bunch of different you gotta screw them in right then and there.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I feel like Savannah, I was like, just seeing the challenge, seeing her, I was like, she's got this in the bag. I feel like Savannah has got like the Parvati body type that I was like, okay, she could probably do really well at this.
Yeah.
So I was nervous though. This was a fun challenge between Savannah and Yellow Sophie at the end. I was like, "Oh, I feel it. I feel in my gut. Savannah's probably going to win," but I was nervous that Sophie might beat her out there at the end.
Yeah, I was nervous too, but I also was kind of like, oh, I think Savannah's going to win. So it was good to see her win. I do enjoy when there's a little bit of tension at the end of a challenge because then it's like, okay, we did not waste all of our time for nothing. Sometimes with those challenges, if like the person you expect to win wins, then it's like, oh my God, why did I just spend 15 minutes watching this challenge?
Yeah, Savannah versus Sophie was a good duel at the end there. Savannah basically saved herself from being eliminated this episode. I feel like even if Savannah's team of Savannah, Blue Sophie, Alex, Christina, Steven went to tribal, maybe Savannah doesn't get voted out, but it seemed like Sophie might just flip and go with the Alex side of things. So maybe, maybe not, but I feel like Savannah definitely saved herself by winning immunity here.
Yeah, she definitely did. I feel like she would have been an easy out no matter what happened.
Yeah, and then they were just sitting on the bench, and then there's no necklace. I was like, WTF. So I'm glad she did get the necklace later on.
Yeah.
So Savannah as her advantage that she won, she gets to go to the losing team's beach. She has immunity, so can't get votes. And then she could either vote or bank her vote and then save it for a later tribal council as an extra vote. I thought this was an interesting, fun advantage. I feel like this seems more like equitable, fair compared to like Saul's advantage where he got to send Rachel home from the tribal council. So I feel like this is better where it's like, okay, you are safe, but you can still vote or you can try to bank a vote compared to if she got the same advantage as Saul, would she just send Rizzo home from tribal? I felt like that'd be less fun.
You see, I still didn't really like this advantage just because I'm so over them messing with votes. And it's like, okay, if you can, I feel like there's no reason you shouldn't bank the vote, but maybe that's just me. So I don't know. I just don't like extra votes or anytime that extra votes enter the game, even as a possibility.
Yeah, extra votes, losing votes. The numbers are all whack now.
Yes.
So Savannah, she gets to join the losing team. All of their faces when the boat rolls up are like, dang, no. Everyone's like, their heads are gonna explode and they're fuming.
Yeah. And honestly, I would be a little miffed too.
You're like, dang, the person we like don't want in the game anymore, and we're annoyed that she won the whole entire challenge is now here to vote.
Yep. And then also, it's annoying if you did the math of like, oh, we could vote for this person or this person, and then all of your math gets messed up. But
Yeah. I thought it was also very cute and fun when Rizzo and Savannah are talking, and then Savannah tells him like what's up with the advantage and how it worked. I thought that was so fun because they're both like, oh my God, this is actually amazing for us. Like the day started so crap, but now things are turning around and they both just look so giddy and excited. I thought it was so cute.
yes, started from the bottom, now they here.
So Savannah tells Rizzo that the her winning team for the challenge thinks that Yellow Sophie will get voted out this episode. And I thought that it was smart from Rizzo and Savannah's point of view. It's like, okay, why would we vote Yellow Sophie out? Because other people want to vote her out anyways. Like, why would we do other people's dirty work? I thought that was a good like thought process to have.
I thought that was a good thought process too. In general, I don't like it when people play against their own best interests, and I think that sometimes voting out someone else that you sometimes voting someone else out can be beneficial for both you and someone else, and it's okay to do that. But if you can vote out someone who's useful for you to vote out but not useful for someone else to vote out, you should do that instead, because then, like you said, you're not doing dirty work.
No, yeah, 100%. I feel like that makes the most sense because if you vote Yellow Sophie out, you're just helping like the Steven crew. And especially if the Steven crew has beef with Yellow Sophie, you're like, okay, Yellow Sophie has no friends out here. Let's bring her in. And we need numbers. Maybe we can get Yellow Sophie on side with us because her own like OG Yellows are trying to vote her out.
Yes. Oh, Yellow Sophie. I did think it was interesting how quickly Yellow Sophie went from irrelevant to very important.
Yeah, literally from like no screen time to like, okay, this is very fascinating. What's going to happen now?
Yeah. And again, why did they have to cast two people with the same name? But you heard my spiel about that last week.
So the losing team here, last time we said that they all probably should have voted out Rizzo's idol. Very, very dangerous to let him continue on here with the idol. And the same thing happens again this week that he gets to continue on with the idol. So dangerous for everyone else. I liked Rizzo's perspective here. He's like being in 10th place versus being in 4th place makes no difference to me. It seems like Rizzo is really willing to play and take risks, which I think is really good, rather than just like, okay, I'm a little bit nervous. I'll play the idol. He's like, okay, doesn't really matter if I can't win the game. It doesn't matter if I'm out now or out in a few votes from now. I need to make sure I'm like positioning myself to be able to win.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think a lot of people have complained in the past about, so and so is playing for third place rather than playing to win. And so, like you said, playing to win rather than playing for like maybe I could get through this vote, but then I'm screwed. I feel like is more fun to watch. I feel like it would be a lot more anxiety inducing to play. And I also do wonder if Jeff's whole open seats for Survivor 50 inspired him a little bit because, you know, they want to bring back people who want to play and not necessarily people who want to, you know, just
Yeah.
float by.
Like we said last week, Savannah heard it and then lunged for the keys that MC was going for. Rizzo heard it and was like, okay, bet. We're never playing this idol. Um, Everyone's plan, it was let's put some votes on Rizzo. Let's make him flush the idol and or play the idol. But then people, if you do that, it's a little bit nerve-wracking because then, okay, Rizzo's one vote, if he does play the idol, will be the deciding vote that sends someone home. So then Sophie tells MC that her plan is that she wants to put one vote on Jawan in case Rizzo does play the idol. So then if Rizzo plays the idol, Rizzo's safe. It would be like one vote Sophie, one vote Jawan, because Sophie volunteered to get the votes on herself. Um, and I thought that was a good plan. Like it is smart to if especially you volunteered to be the decoy vote here, you need to like split your votes in order to prevent if Rizzo does play the idol, like you idling yourself out of the game, which would be so bad. So I was like, okay, this is a really smart plan. Like throw a vote on someone else. Probably a mistake to tell people and tell MC about it. It's like you don't need anyone else to throw a vote before Savannah came there. Like you just need a 1v1 if Rizzo played the idol.
Yeah, I think telling other people, especially because I didn't really get the impression they were that close before this point. Like, yeah, sure, maybe tell your like bestie in the game, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. But I didn't see that they were besties.
Yeah, or it makes sense like after Savannah shows up, then it's like you assume Savannah and Rizzo are going to be a twosome voting together. Then you need someone else to throw another vote, so then it's like 2-2-1 or 2-2-2 technically. It's like if Rizzo did play the idol, you need two votes to combat and make a tie with Savannah and Rizzo's votes, and maybe then you like float the idea of splitting your vote. But it just seemed like pre-Savannah showing up there, it was a mistake for Sophie to tell someone else that like she wanted to split.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like in general, people should keep their mouths shut.
So after Sophie tells MC her plan, MC then tells Jawan Sophie's plan in order to try to build back trust with him. Because, like we saw at the start of the episode, Jawan was hurt that MC still played the idol, didn't feel so trustworthy with him. So she's like, okay, I can build some trust with him again, which maybe this was a mistake also, but now in exit interviews, MC is saying that she told Jawan because she didn't want another black player to get voted out after Nate just got voted out. But also, it's like you don't need to tell Jawan because say it was like a 1v1 Sophie versus Jawan, then MC could just not vote Jawan out there, and then you didn't even need to tell him that his name was coming up.
Yeah, I think that probably was a misstep by MC. I know people have been talking a lot about like the racial element of it, and I think that MC was trying to do like a good thing and trying to be like, hey, listen, like I really want you to be able to get through, but then it kind of backfired, so sucks.
Yeah, MC didn't want Jawan to get voted out and instead gets herself voted out. And it's like, I feel like from Jawan's point of view, you have someone coming to you saying, like, Sophie's splitting the vote on you. Like, if Rizzo plays the idol, you might go home. Like, Jawan does not want to hear that. Like, that would probably freak him out that he's getting votes. And like we saw in the episode, immediately after that, Jawan is like, I don't want to vote Rizzo anymore. I want to like vote Sophie out because she's playing super hard. And then Jawan tells Sage this, and Sage is like, okay, if Jawan isn't on board anymore, like we don't have enough votes to vote Rizzo out. You basically just gave Rizzo all the power. And everyone's not voting Rizzo anymore, so he doesn't even need to play the idol.
Yeah, it's very much a like one domino falls thing.
Yeah, so it's like everything is starting to crumble. No one, like, it makes sense because the idol is scary. Like, if you're the person that Rizzo is going to idol out, it's incentivizing for you to flip your vote onto someone else to try that you aren't the one being idled out. So it like makes sense to split your vote here, but it's like just sort of sucks because then none of the votes are going to Rizzo and you probably should have tried to get his idol out this episode.
Yeah, you definitely should have tried to get his idol out this episode, but mistakes were made.
Should have done it last episode, like we said.
Should have done it 6 episodes ago, really.
So after all of this, the vote seems to be between Sophie and MC now, especially after Savannah shows up. It's like, okay, no one is willing to vote Rizzo anymore. They're afraid of the Rizzo Savannah duo there. MC has a lot of connections with OG Yellow, so people are interested in voting her out. Compared to Sophie, it seems like not so many friends. Old Yellow really wants to vote her out. Sage is like, Sophie's so good at challenges, we need to vote her out. But then Rizzo's like, no, she's not the Terminator, which I think this is a good like thing from Rizzo. It's like, okay, we've had two individual immunity challenges. Sophie has won one and then done really well in a second one. But also, I would be like, both of these challenges are basically testing the same thing. Like they're both endurance challenges. So yeah, Sophie's good at endurance, but maybe she can't win every single challenge. It's not like she's won 5 in a row already, so you wouldn't be so scared of her yet.
Especially because endurance challenges, I feel like they get harder to win the more you win more of them. Because, like, if you drop out of the first endurance challenge after 5 minutes, then you have like an extra like hour of energy in the tank versus it's really hard to go like 3-4 hours several challenges in a row. And so I feel like there's that aspect of it as well. So I feel like there are a lot of endurance challenges in the merge and post merge part of the game. So I get being like, okay, she's really good at endurance. There's a lot of endurance challenges, but I think endurance challenges get harder the more of them that you do. And also, there are other kinds of challenges, like Rizzo said.
Yeah, if she's won 5 in a row and this was the first time she lost, I'd be like, heck yeah, we need to vote her out. But I think I agree with him. It's like it's only been 2 challenges. She's not that threatening yet that we need to vote her out now, especially when other people want to get her out.
Yeah, for sure.
So everyone here basically they should have stuck together. They needed to vote Rizzo or like put votes on him or at least trick him into playing the idol and wasting it. Flush that idol, get it out of here. I feel like it's so dangerous for everyone else to let him get through another round with the idol. And it's like also so wild that Rizzo is literally should have been on the bottom on this tribe, and then he actually was ended up on the top and was leading the vote plan of MC versus Sophie. I was like, this man has got too much power.
You might even say he's got too much Riz. Um,
He's a god.
yeah, but again, it was kind of interesting to see how that happened, but also I'm like, this would have been so much cooler if it wasn't a split tribal.
It's like so interesting because it's like theoretically this should not have happened. It's like you should stick together and you should put votes on Rizzo so he gets rid of the idol or has to use the idol even if he's there tomorrow. Or it's like maybe make Rizzo flush his shot in the dark or something. It's like you literally let him keep all of his tricks and you don't even make him use one or flush any of them, which I think is pretty wild because then he's just getting more and more powerful and then it's going to get harder and harder to like try to vote him out with the idol in his pocket because it's like just going to assume that votes are going to come for him every single week kind of thing. So I thought it was so wild that you can go from like theoretically being the person everyone should be voting out this episode to being the person leading the vote.
Yeah, like you said, it basically felt like scripted television in that way.
Literally, I was like, this should not. happens? Like, this is so wild. So we get to tribal council. There was whispering at tribal council, the first live tribal of the season. I wish they gave us captions here because just like listening to them whisper for 5 to 10 minutes, I was like, what is happening? I was confused and I did not like it.
Yeah, I think that maybe they're intentionally trying to confuse us and make it chaotic because it's a live tribal, but it's also like, why did you spend the last hour creating a narrative if you're gonna mix it all up at the last minute?
Especially because it's like, why do we have to read exit press or listen to exit press to learn what happened? MC was saying like she was trying to like scare everyone, cause drama, that maybe people would flip their votes and vote for Sophie. She was telling them that she was going to play the shot in the dark kind of thing. It's like, that's something you could totally caption. That's not like illegal for television.
Yeah, I don't get why they don't caption it, but
Yeah. Or even it's like apparently Rizzo was like very nervous and maybe was going to play the idol and then decided not to. It's like, okay, that would have been interesting to see some of that. Like if he was genuinely scared because of the drama at Tribal Council and he thought about playing the idol, like I want to hear some captions of that. And it's like, okay, do you want to play it or not? And then people are like, yeah, play it or yeah, don't.
yeah. I think that would have been fun and added suspense in a different way to be like, OMG, is he gonna play it?
Yeah, because then it's like, oh, if he does play it, that could be bad for them next week because they're maybe on the bottom and now don't have an idol.
Which would have been fun.
So I feel like it's good for Rizzo. He's risking it for the biscuit. I feel like you have to sort of be willing to get voted out in order, like, for everyone else, you have to be willing to let yourself get voted out in order to get the idol out. Like, everyone else should have risked it for the biscuit, like Rizzo risked it. It's like, if you're playing so nervous that he might idol you out, it's like not good.
Yeah, not good at all.
So everyone was too afraid of the idol that they flubbed the plan of trying to get him to waste the idol or play the idol again, just like last week. So, like, it makes sense though from MC and Sophie's perspectives. It's like, okay, if Rizzo played the idol and did cast the vote, he's probably eliminating one of us. So we don't want that. Let's split the votes. Everyone starts to flip their votes, and then it's just a spiral of not voting Rizzo.
Like I said, dominoes.
Yeah, so good for Rizzo. He gets to keep the idol again, especially in such a hectic tribal council. And if he was nervous and wanted to play it this time but didn't, like, okay, that's a good read. He risked it. And I was like, this is really good going into next week.
Yeah. And I think shaking up next week will be fun as well.
Especially because if I were on the losing team, like the Steven, Christina, Alex, Blue Sophie team, and you see that they voted out MC, didn't flush Rizzo's idol, Rizzo is still there. If I were like the Steven crew, I'd be like, what the heck? Like you all had one job is to flush his idol and or vote him out. And he's still here. Like I would be so mad at the winning
I would
team
be so
or the
mad too,
losing team.
especially because it puts them in such a good position for next time.
Literally. And especially from Steven's point of view, it'll be interesting because it's like, sure, they might lie and say, like, MC wanted to vote me out, so we had to vote her out, sort of do like the Shannon thing again and say, like, Shannon did all these bad things, so we had to vote her out. We were actually doing you a favor. It'll be interesting to see, like, what lie they come up with. But I feel like from Steven's point of view, if I like created that bottoms up alliance with Steven, Sage, and Juwan, and then you see you voted together for 2 votes, and then the next time immediately they flip back to Rizzo and Savannah's side, I would be like, I think we're in an alliance anymore. You guys aren't trustworthy.
Yeah, you need people to be able to come in when you need them.
Yeah, so I feel like from Steven's point of view, he might need Sage and Jawan to be on his side, but maybe that gets a little bit fractured, so that's interesting. Um, I think it'll also be interesting if people figure out that like they notice only 3 MC votes are red, and if 6 votes were in there, 3 isn't a majority. So Do people think Savannah didn't vote and she got an extra vote? I feel like people wouldn't just assume that she got an extra vote. Maybe they would just think that she was lying and she wasn't actually able to vote at all. But it'll be interesting to see if we see any discussion about why only 3 votes are read.
Yeah, I feel like again, it's one of those things where sometimes I feel like they show us the wrong thing, and I really hope that someone mentions that next week.
I agree. And then it also raises the question, it's like, are Savannah and Rizzo this good at the game, or is everyone else like really, really bad? Maybe a middling of that, probably. But it's like, okay, Christina has gone to like one tribal council. Sophie, Blue Sophie, been to a lot of tribals. Alex also, Rizzo and Savannah have been to a handful of tribals, and it seems like they are able to like run laps around all of Yellow because Yellow didn't really go to that many tribal councils.
Yeah, yellow is basically where Sophie was like day 9 of the game. So they're really far behind.
Yeah, that's why it's like, okay, Christina got the idol, but I could literally, or yeah, hidden immunity idol, I could just be like, it's her second tribal council, and I think she won't like figure out or like play it correctly.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
So I think that'd be interesting if people like asked or did research on like, okay, if you go to more tribals earlier on, like are you a better survivor player because then you've had more practice in like lying and voting people out, because it just seems like the people that went to more are doing better than the people that went to less.
But I feel like there's also some stuff there about are you less threatening when you're someone who has been to a lot of tribals because you probably don't have a lot of allies left.
True. So Savannah and Rizzo, they really made their lemons into lemonade this week because they went from the bottom, the top last week to the bottom this week to, I'd say, a pretty decent spot next week because in the Savannah Rizzo duo, they've got the idol still. They've got an extra vote now going into final 9. And Blue Sophie has the knowledge is power, which they don't know about. But Rizzo, Savannah, they'll probably tell Blue Sophie the truth about what happens with the MC vote, tell her about the extra vote. Blue Sophie probably goes back to them because it's like, I'd be like, these two have got all the advantages, plus me, we've got all the advantages. Like, this is an amazing trio.
Yeah, I feel like power thruple.
So I feel like Steven, Christina, and Sage will probably be on the bottom next time. Sage seems like she just doesn't like Savannah. I don't think Sage would flip to the power nexus of the Rizzo Savannah group. I feel like Alex and Jawan and Sophie might flip to the Rizzo Savannah group, though.
Yeah, I feel like with the people on the bottom, like I feel like for Christina, I've been trying to figure out for so long what her storyline is meant to be this season because she randomly pops up and pops back down. So maybe this is why her storyline has been so inconsistent because that threesome is about to be smashed.
Yeah, because it's like Alex and Blue Sophie have a relationship. I think if Alex sees the writing on the wall, and we saw in the merge episode, he said he's willing to flip on his like teammates and like flop back and forth. If Alex sees that the Savannah Rizzo group is gaining power, sees that writing on the wall, he'll probably flip and team back up with Blue Sophie there. Maybe tell Blue Sophie about the Christina idol, and then they gain even more power. We see Jawan and Rizzo have like a very interesting relationship. Earlier in the season, we hear that it's like a brotherly alliance relationship. So, same thing. Jawan seems opportunistic and willing to go where the power lies. I feel like Jawan, because of his relationship with Rizzo, might flip back to Old Red. It's interesting with the Jawan and Savannah relationship because they have that beef. Like, will Jawan get over the beef that Sage won't get over with Savannah? Or, like, will Jawan still dislike Savannah, but, like, is that enough to make him not want to work with Rizzo?
Yeah, so I guess we're gonna have to see moving forward because I feel like some of these people might surprise us with whether or not they're bitter.
That's true. I could see people. being angry on the jury. And then I think finally for Yellow Sophie, maybe Savannah tells her that like Steven and them thought she was going to get voted out, and maybe Yellow Sophie is wanting to flip on Yellow now, but Yellow Sophie too, opportunistic. I could see she's like, if you can't beat them, let's join them. Let's go with the
Maybe
people with
she
all
is
the
the
advantages.
Terminator.
Is that what the Terminator does?
No, but I feel like Terminator's more dangerous, so
Yeah, I was like, they gotta name their alliance so we can talk about them and not have to list everyone's names off.
yeah, maybe next week they'll name it.
Yeah. So I thought this was a really fun episode, one of the best this season thus far. I had a lot of fun watching it, and there's just so many moving parts. This one was fun to watch and break down.
Yes, it was definitely a fun watch. So maybe I'll rewatch it before Wednesday.
Yay! So let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this episode. Were you excited and rooting for the Savannah Rizzo team? Or you rooting against them and you didn't want to see them succeed this episode? What did you think of the split tribal council mechanics this week? Did you like the twist or not like the twist? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching.